They got a shot now. If they win another game, this gets interesting.
Yeah.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Let's begin right out of the gates with the best conference in college basketball with the Big 12. It starts early today as BYU, they were winners yesterday. They shot lights out. They took down Central Florida. They were 14 of 30 from deep, 87 points overall. They get Texas Tech. BYU opened up a 2-point favorite in this game with a total of 153. So scores this year, January 20th in Lubbock. Texas Tech beat them 85-78. Tech was 2.5 in that game. Total was 145.5. BYU was 13 of 39 from 3. Tech shot 10 of 20. And they also shot 18 free throws in that game compared to 5 from BYU. Ken Pom has BYU winning this game by 2 points as well.
I like the Dogs in every game in that conference today. And this is a great story. Good for them. BYU was picked 13th in this league. And they're going to get a good seed. Now, I could see them going out in the first round or going to the Elite Eight.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
It depends on how are the shots falling like they were yesterday. So I lean Texas Tech here. I don't really, I'm not in love with BYU away from home with that great home court advantage that they have, but it's still a good team, and Pope's done an excellent job, and this is a great conference tournament and a great league, but I would lean to the Dog here in a good game early on.
Yep, this is so before some of these tournaments started, I thought in my head, some of the teams that could catch fire, like they're capable of hitting a bunch of threes in a game, if that would continue, like they're so volatile, because if they're not hitting their threes, they're going to get buried. BYU would be one of them. Florida registers, and we're going to get to the SEC in a minute as well. Those would be two of those teams. Trends here in this conference at vsin.com, courtesy of Steve Makinen. Totals of 147 or higher are 14 and 5 under over the last 10 years of the Big 12 tournament. This one would qualify. The other one that we have today, well, we have 3 more in that conference, but TCU gets Houston. The Cougars now off the bye. TCU was really good yesterday. You were on the Horned Frogs. They were in control of Oklahoma the entire time. Houston's laying 10, 137.5. You go back 7 weeks or so in Waco. TCU got them 68-67 in that game. Cougars were 4 of 18 from downtown. And the Horned Frogs only shot 16 of 29 from the free throw line. 10 points, that's a big number here, man.
Aaron Moore's coming up in half an hour. He's going to fade Houston. I think I'll do the same thing, where you worry about motivation because the 1 seed's already locked up, and TCU should be in the tournament now. But, I like the fact that they already played a game and looked awesome for 30 minutes yesterday. And then, gave a little bit of it back, but had no problems beating Oklahoma. So that's a lot of points, not to mention Houston continues to blow these big leads. So that does look enticing and juicy to grab double digits here.
What do you make of this idea with TCU play now on its second day? And I'm not talking just about the Horned Frogs here. This is going to go in general for a lot of teams that have already played a game against a team that's off a bye and have not played. What do you think about splitting a bet with maybe like a half a unit Cincy first half and Cincy for the game? Or do you just want to go with the full 10 for the game?
TCU?
TCU
for yes. And yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Horned Frogs first half and for the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I know. I just mentioned they've been blowing big leads, but still, you would think if they're going to be in this and have a chance to win, they would come out and give you a competitive first half.
Yep. K-State, they got Texas last night.
Yep.
So now
they got a shot now. If they win another game, this gets interesting.
Yeah. They get Iowa State. Cyclones are 6.
Ooh.
Total is 132.5. Now here's the deal, right? They split the season series. Thank God we don't have to hear the words Hilton Magic anymore. I think once the tournament actually starts, maybe it's brought up like, hey, we're not at home anymore with Iowa State and Ames. I've heard that like 7,000 times already this year. But Iowa State beat them at home 78-67 because they beat everybody at home. And then K-State beat them 65-58 in the rematch. Iowa State was 3.5 in Manhattan. Now it's 6. Big number, man.
Yeah. That's a tough game. I would take the Dog here, though, again, because they got a shot. If they can win this and maybe win another one, all of a sudden they can get an at-large bid. So good job yesterday beating Texas. I would take the 6, and I don't trust Iowa State's offense.
Neither do I.
Don't do it. Nope.
I'm anti-Iowa State moving forward here.
Okay, good. The tough one, the leg game's tough because it's, hell of a performance by Kansas. We knew they'd be up against it, but people were cutting in line to bet Cincinnati. That went up a 3-point favorite, and they blew out Kansas. So now, and a lot of people took futures in this conference on Baylor once the Dickinson news came down with KU.
Yeah. I'm holding 9-1 on that team.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, though, little hesitant here. Cincinnati, I don't want to take too much away because Kansas, they're so undermanned.
Well, they stunk in the first game, but they were good yesterday.
Yeah, they were dead and buried against West Virginia before coming back. And now Baylor lane 5 here, 141 is the total. This is probably going to be a stay away for me. I'm going to hold that future, and hopefully they can get beyond this game and then the game after this as well. LSU gets Mississippi State. Miss State opened up 5 in this game, 144.5. Miss State went to Baton Rouge on February 24th and took them out in a body bag, 87-67 in that game. Ken Pom has it pretty much right on with the number, or I should say vice versa. 76-71 are his numbers in this game today for anything here?
Yeah, I like the favorite here.
Okay.
And Mississippi State also locks up a bit if they win. So
I would agree with that.
Not that's the be-all, end-all, but I'll take the better team here and think they can get it done. This is one where Lenardi has the winning in Mississippi State and Virginia. I don't know why this is such a big win for Virginia against Boston College tonight, but he has those two teams winning in today.
Okay. South Carolina plays Arkansas. South Carolina is 6.5 this morning with a total of 144. They went to Fayetteville almost 2 months ago and won by 13.
You're right. No respect. Still no respect. What a job Paris has done here.
And Arkansas was down by 14 at halftime to Vandy. So for those of you who are betting them on the money line to come back and win, you had a good ticket there. They did. It went to overtime. So it was definitely a sweat. But I think what you saw with Arkansas yesterday is exactly what this team is. They can be down by 14 and come back. They can be up by 4. They were up big late at Kentucky and blew the game. And so today against the South Carolina team, I don't know, maybe, again, will that Musselman's a really good coach, but this has been just a ridiculously bizarre year with the Razorbacks. So I don't know what's going to happen with this program moving forward. Mm-hmm. But they're too tricky for me to figure out.
Yeah. I agree. Plus, you come in a bad performance in overtime, so you had expectations and you failed miserably here. So I would think it'd be South Carolina or pass. How about A&M? Lenardi has them the first team out. First 4 out is A&M, Wake, New Mexico, and he says if they lose this game, they're not going to get in.
I don't think they should.
So they probably also have to win this game and maybe have to win another, because they're probably going to be bid thieves, and then we'll see what transpires behind them, and then what happens with these other teams as well. And Chris Beard got an extension yesterday too for Ole Miss, but A&M laying 4.5. It'd be an A&M or pass.
Yeah, now how about? I'm not touching
don't
this
trust
game.
It? Okay.
No, neither one of these sides here. If I had to play it, I would probably look at A&M on a money line parlay. To be honest. Now, here's the tricky part about now they're up to 5-point favorites here. Money line at 218 at DraftKings. Ole Miss won at A&M, and then just last weekend, A&M went to Oxford, returned the favor 86-80. So both teams have won on the other team's home court so far on this season, and too difficult to get another one. I'm not going to touch the South Carolina-Arkansas game. That would probably, to me, that would be an in-play game. I don't have anything on the A&M Ole Miss game. I do like Georgia tonight, though, against Florida. And look, I said this earlier. I think Florida is one of those teams like BYU. Both those teams could end up playing in their conference title game because they might not miss, right? They could go on a tear here. Having said that, they're lane 8 in this game to Georgia. Total is 155. Florida was 8 at home when they beat them the first time, 102-98 in overtime. They were 4 at Georgia, and they won 88-82, so they covered that game. But now they were lane 8. They played twice, tight both times at home, and now they're 8 on a neutral? That's a big number to me.
All right, you sold me. Sounds good.
We just saw it with this team, right? They're good enough to beat Alabama wherever they play. They probably should. It's coulda, woulda, shoulda, but they could have swept Kentucky this year. And yet they go out and they lose to Vandy last weekend.
Absolutely.
So that's exactly what I'm talking about here with some of these teams.
Yep. They added this year on bracketology. So I mentioned Miss State and Virginia, according to Lenardi, winning in. Out without St. John's, Pitt and Wake, A&M, Iowa, Colorado, and South Florida. Win and then win again. Memphis, Oregon, UNLV, Ohio State has to win the conference tournament. Providence and Kansas State. That's interesting.
Okay.
They've added that now on ESPN.com and with the bubble, and that's a pretty good breakdown and analysis from Lenardi.
Your Golden Gophers here. They've been the best team in college basketball all year long, covering numbers until lately, right? Getting Michigan State. Sparty open up 7.
I want them out if they lose too. I don't think there's enough on the resume.
I don't think so either.
They have lost 4 or 5 as well. How are you? I don't care what happened 3 months ago. How are you playing now? So Lenardi has them last 4 buys along with Oklahoma. I don't know why Oklahoma's in. Have you looked at their resume?
Oh, boy.
It is weak sauce.
Yep.
That's another one. Last 4 buys, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Seton Hall, and Miss State. Last 4 in, Colorado, Virginia, St. John's, and the Sycamores. So, right, Minnesota's been the bee's knees all year with this ATS machine. I don't trust Michigan State here. And then we'll see if the Gophers, if the contingent comes out today with this early start.
Yeah, would you give them anything here for home court?
Maybe a little. All
right.
It's worth something, no doubt.
So Sparty opened up 7, down to 6.5 now at some spots. They were favored by 12 at home in January. They won by 10, but it was tied late, and they pulled away with a bunch of free throws as the game was winding down. And then last month, Gophers got them as a 3-point dog, 59-56 at home. 7, big number here.
Yes, I agree.
The tax that you got to pay on Tom Izzo in March, I guess.
That's right. Well said. I'll take Minnesota. What do you think of Wisconsin and Maryland? That's a tough one. I mean, Wisconsin has been so bad. They got the win and cover somehow against Rutgers, and then Maryland had no problems with Rutgers yesterday. But
is this a fair comparison? You brought up Oklahoma. I think Wisconsin is kind of a carbon copy of Oklahoma. Both teams had good non-conferences, and they shot up the rankings. And then since like February, it's been a disaster.
Yeah.
I was hoping to catch more with Maryland in this game. It's only 2.5. Whiskey won the first time 74-70, but they were laying 7 there.
What's the total? With
132. Yeah.
Okay.
Teams off a bye in the Big Ten tournament, 17-13 straight up. However, 7-21-1 ATS. That's 24%. Against teams that already played since 2018. There's that angle going today. If that trend continues, it would tell you that Maryland's going to cover this number. But as this experiment I've been doing now all week long with trends, it has not exactly been profitable. So
it seems a lot of people are on the Buckeyes, too. I know they played well since the coaching change, but as we just talked about, Iowa's got an opportunity here if they can win a couple in this tournament. This is Ohio State favorite, and everyone's in love with Ohio State, it seems.
Now, again, to your point, they're laying 2 here in a neutral. They played last month in Iowa City. Hawkeyes got them by 2. Iowa was 6 in that game.
Yeah, right.
Now, Ohio State's a much different team, obviously, now than what they were for most part of the season.
Some of these numbers are odd. How about the San Diego State line? They just played.
Bumped up.
UNLV was getting 2. They won. Now it's 4.5. So they're telling you it's not much because it's a tournament game and the locals aren't going to show up for a 2:30 start. That's wild to me.
Yep. That trend in the Big Ten also applies today to Indiana against Penn State. And Penn State opened up the favorite here, -2, total of 151. They went to Bloomington and blew them out by 14. I watched the game. Indiana was just dreadful in that game. Penn State couldn't miss, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Again, off the bye there in the Big Ten against teams that have already played 7-21-1 ATS going back.
Okay, thoughts on the ACC? I don't know if I want Florida State here. I mean, this could be let's go for the 1 seed and Carolina puts the foot down and takes them out with a body bag.
So the deal is right with the Seminoles. That was the early game yesterday. They shot exceedingly well.
Yep.
54%.
Had all kinds of problems with the press, too. And
Sure.
Throwing it all over the place.
They were 25 of 30 from the line. UNC got them both times, 78-70. At home, they were laying 12.5. They also won by 7 in Tallahassee. They were laying 6.5 in that game, so they actually covered that one. It's a big number today, but ACC teams off a bye and playing as a favorite of 4 points or more against teams that have already played in the tournament, 34-2 straight up, 23-12-1 ATS since 2015.
Carolina first half, too, I think.
Think so?
Yeah. I think they come out and stomp them. Do whatever they want. Yep. Pitt, Wake, no opinion. Tough game. Loser leaves town.
Yeah, this is the number is exactly where it should be.
Yeah. I was not impressed with Wake yesterday. And that's and Pitt's been feisty.
Oh,
So at least for Pitt to get in this conversation here. And but they're going to have to win a couple and get to at least the title game. But I think Wake probably safe if they win, but I agree with Lenardi. Losers finito.
Yep, this is too much of a coin flip for me to get involved. Now, they did hold the Fighting Irish to 29% shooting yesterday. So that was the second game in 2 days for Notre Dame there. Then the night games here. Duke against NC State. What a loss for Syracuse yesterday.
I know.
Duke's laying 11.5.
Yep.
So they won their only meeting. It was 79-64 in Raleigh, another game that I watched. That was, I'll tell you, that was 33-30 Duke at halftime. They were lucky to have the lead. I thought NC State, they played really well in that first half, and then it got away from them in the second half. Duke was 6 in Raleigh. Now they're laying 11.5 in this game in the tournament.
Wow.
That is a massive number.
It is. That's a lot. I know. I think that's too much. Explain this to me. Virginia now winning in, according to Lenardi. What's Boston College now? Great job. I mean, taking apart Clemson, that thing was over early.
Yeah.
Great job by Boston College to blow them out. But no one wants to see Virginia in the tournament. They're ugly team, not fun to watch, and they're not playing good ball. But I don't see why you're going to get a boost and a shot in the arm here by getting the win in the late game. And this is they're laying 5 against BC. So we'll see if BC can get another one here and win 3 in a row.
What do you think of this number today?
I think it's a touch high. I think I like the mojo and what BC's got going right now. I mean, Clemson's looking at like a 6 seed, 7 seed. They just toyed with them.
Yeah, absolutely they did. Now it's March Madness here, so typically, over the years, I've looked at dogs like everybody does, right? You look at the dogs first before you make up your mind. I'm a little frightened at how many dogs I like today. I mean, it's like almost every single game that we're talking about here, and this would be another one of them.
Nothing wrong with that.
Ken Palm has this a 1-point game, by the way.
Yeah.
So the first time they played, first time they played, this was at BC. Virginia got them. It was 72-68, but it was tight. In that game, they were 1.5, and now they're.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't lay 5 with this Virginia team. I just can't do it.
And then you're talking about a low total too. So
yeah,
this could be a rock fight. I'm with you. I think BC can do it again.
How many teams in the ACC can do damage next week?
Just 2.
Is it only 2?
Yeah.
That Clemson performance
that's
last
embarrassing.
night.
Absolutely. I'm with you. That's an embarrassing performance.
I mean, they lost by, what was the final score? Like 76-55, I think?
Yeah.
They were routed last night by BC.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible job by Clemson.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think North Carolina. I'm high on this Duke team, though. I can see Duke going on a big run. I can see that team making the Final Four. Now, it's all going to come down to the brackets on Selection Sunday, but I think Duke's pretty damn good.
Yeah. You also have a lot of big favorites today, but again, I don't care who you are. You got to respect your opponent. Ask Villanova. How about that? They almost took Fezzik out again. He almost blew 40 units for the second time in a year.
Yeah.
Because he had Villanova money line. I mean, that's 22-1 on the money line. DePaul's up 2 with 10 seconds. They blew the game.
Yeah, guy hit a 3 for Villanova to win the game, and he laid minus 4,000 in the contest, much like he laid minus 4,500 on Purdue to win the game against Fairleigh Dickinson last year.
Yeah,
and it's in our newsletter today. He bet 6 figures to win 4 figures for Arizona with the bye as the 1 seed. They get USC.
Here we go.
The Trojans trailed at halftime against Washington, but the Huskies could not miss. They were 9 of 13 in the first half from downtown, and then that kind of came apart. Ken Palm makes Arizona 12.
Wow.
The first number I saw yesterday, he has 85-73. So what's going to play out here? Books did not post at 12. I think knowing that a lot of people were going to be on USC in this game. The first number I saw was Arizona 8. 8.5, total of 156.5 in this game. They just played again last weekend, and USC was easily the right side.
That's true. Yeah, Ellis was great last night. Yeah, it's yesterday afternoon. Yo, John boy. But this is just it's an avalanche and won't stop. 40-1 to 14-1. Mm-hmm. I saw Patrick Everson tweet about it. Just every bookmaker. It's the USC futures won't stop here, and I don't trust Arizona. They did not play well down the stretch. I agree with Tim Murray. There is no way, no how you should get swept by Washington State. So, they got a great fan base, but You go back, they just, no one vomits on themselves come March like this program has done for a long, long time. And this is interesting, though, but if USC can somehow get this one, I mean, that bracket really opens up. I think they probably meet. I really like Oregon in the next game. But you probably play Oregon then. Who knows? It could be USC against UCLA. And then you're not going to be scared of everyone else.
No.
I don't think Washington State's going to make it to the title game. So this thing really opens up, and I'm also a little concerned about the motivation with Arizona now that they've pissed away a 1 seed.
Yeah, so I did grab some of that USC at 40-1 when it popped. They win this one today, obviously.
Oh, yes.
And,
then it gets juicy.
Now we're live. They played January 17th in Tucson. The Trojans were without several key players. The Wildcats, think about this, Paul. They were laying 21 in that game. They won by 15. Last Saturday in L.A., Cats were 7.5, 163, and never in doubt. USC got them 78-65. Here's an angle that you can find at VSiN.com, courtesy of the great Steve Makinen. Pac-12 teams that had a bye in the tournament are 21-10 to the over, 67.7% in their first game, while averaging 78.5 points per game.
Yes. Now, what happens? Very good. Now, what happens in this Oregon game if the upset happens? I mean, imagine you're the Ducks. You take the floor, and then, oh, boy, number one goes down. Suddenly you're thinking we can get the auto bid here.
Well,
because I like Oregon anyways. I just don't think this is a bad – Matt's right. This is a bad UCLA team.
They're far from great.
Right. So I'll trust Oregon here to get the win and the cover.
You lean the 2.5. Okay, you're okay with that?
I'll go money line. Yeah, what are we at? We're at 160. Okay, that's.
I think you probably do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, right. But I like Oregon too.
Are you going to, so straight up here, would you play Oregon on moneyline parlays then, I'm guessing, too, if you wanted to do any of that?
I'm just, no. As far as what, the rest of the conference or?
No, like any other games that you don't want to lay the point spread with today on a favorite.
No, I'll take Oregon here.
Okay. Totals around 131.
You got a number in the late game? I don't see a number.
No, Luke, if you can find one, please let us know about that. That's Utah and Colorado tonight. Ken Pom has Colorado 78-76.
Yeah. I think they got to have it. I think if Colorado loses, it's bye-bye birdie. It's a tough call, though. And also,
how good was that win at Oregon?
Yeah, big. Had to have it.
Had to have that one, and they were impressive.
Playing good ball, yes, right. So everyone's been killing the Pac-12 all year, and it's the swan song. But this is, I was pleasantly surprised by Utah too. I got that one wrong. They went 0 for 2 on that last road trip, and they just played Arizona State and got buried. But that thing was over early. So that is strange. You guys can help us out. I just don't have a number on that game, and that's at 8:30. And then Washington State's laying a good-sized number against Stanford. Stanford came out of nowhere to rally and beat Cal in overtime.
Yep. So that number's 8.5.
Yeah.
Wazoo Lane against the Cardinal. You're right. That is a big number in that game. Total is 141.
And I would take Colorado against Washington State in the semis if that's the matchup.
So would I.
Yep.
I think here's a prediction. I got to get by Arizona, obviously, today. I think there's a good chance we get Colorado and USC in the title game.
Really? Yeah. I'll go Colorado, Oregon. That was my call before.
Was it okay?
But that's okay. I'll root for you on that one, but I think it'll be Colorado, Oregon.